Alright, so we're taking a look at some of the projects that we've made with this Ender 5 and talk about some of the experiences and some of the issues and troubleshooting along the way. Alright, we're taking a look at the projects that we've made with the Ender 5 3D printer. This is my first experience in using a printer. I barely even paid attention as other people have had their printers and had their problems or their successes. So haven't known anybody with such failures or such successes that I've changed my mind or made up my mind on printers. So when I had a chance to check out this Ender 5, decided to give it a go, and these are the projects that we're making. So first thing was the calibration project. Made a simple little bullet, which was just a stacked piece of material in a cylinder. Then started on a difficult project like the van, had some success, some failure. Went back to the larger bullet, which was just an easier project, but a longer duration, a more really lengthy project or part, so it had some challenges. However, up until this point, all I'd been doing is finding other people's projects and printing them. The most I'd done is change scale, and that's it. So decided to attempt learning the software that creates files. So going from our patch, which is basically a 2-inch round patch, we started making our own file. And I'll turn off this light to try to get better contrast. Made our own file and started emulating the patch. So took the design and everything. Now I didn't know how to do this, so this was not just learning the 3D printer, but learning how to do this software for the first time. So I didn't do it very effectively. It's sort of hand drawn, and you can tell if you really pay close attention that it's not accurate to the patch, but it's pretty close. And as we can see, there's layers, and it's pretty darn close. It matches up pretty good. But it is, considering I didn't know how to just make the thing into the actual dimensions like I do now. Over on the back, didn't do much other than to duplicate what would be happening if these things were layers. If that was a gear with a blue thing sitting on it and a white thing sitting on it, then this thing still has the little crutch that it would use to print this. In other words, as it's printing, if you need to print something like a shelf, if it's printing in this direction and you need to jump over, it needs to put some sort of support here, so that otherwise it's just not going to be able to just print out of thin air. So there's a little shelf here that it created, a temporary shelf I should say, and it's made that I can go in here and break the small little delicate uprights that hold that shelf in, and now you can see dimensionality in there. So it's basically the reverse of the G, and then technically the reverse of that W. If the W went right through the G and into the gear, but not all the way to the table, just to have some fun with it. And no one's going to care at that level of detail, but it was just an interesting way to play around with the design of a familiar design, or play around with the software to create a familiar design. And I think it did pretty good. So we made a bunch of them. It was also, this design then became an effort in development. So once I made it, I figured the back looked pretty boring. Not much going on in the back. It's hard to see, but washes out here. But the back was pretty boring. So at some point I went in and started to draw our... I don't know which one was which. So I started to draw our name on the back here, and I won't be able to find it, but if you looked at a bunch of these together, you'll see that when I first started drawing the name on the back, didn't figure out the concept real good, and couldn't really read what was being written on the back. It was kind of squiggly. So went ahead and edited it again. And most of these have the larger font. So I went in and added a larger font, which created larger holes. So I'm having trouble with the lighting on this one for sure. But yeah, that's not coming through at all, is it? Oh no, you can see it. So you can sort of see that font is a little larger here. There we go. That font is a little larger here, and you can actually read it. And yeah, so we created the kind of a challenge coin-esque type of poker chip challenge coin thing. It doesn't weigh much, so it's hard to call it a challenge coin, but it's the size. If that was metal, it'd be a pretty cool challenge coin. Printed out a bunch of them then. Once I had the design down, these take a while to print, and I just print one at a time. I haven't figured out how to put more than one item on a thing yet, at least at this stage. So just started to print in mass. I wanted to see what it's like to do a production run, if the machine gets all wonky, or if it's possible, how long it takes to get things made. So I'm not saying I made all of these just sitting down, made them right after another, but the way that the machine works is it's on right now, literally. So I could, if I didn't really, it's not going to make any noise, I could just do this. But the machine is on right now, and I can always go in here and I can tell it, go in here and heat up. So get ready, like just do your thing. And now it's heating up. It's turning on the head, or the hot end, and it's turning on the bed, the place where the material is going to set, and the end of the tube where it gets squirted out of. Those are heating up to 200 degrees and to 50 degrees of metrics. So once that's heating up, I can just go in here and tell it to print from the card, and all of these projects that are on the table here, every one of these projects are still on this card. So the card that's sitting right here plugged in, I just take it over to my computer and work on these files. But once the files are on the card, they're on the card, and I can just scroll through them, and at some point I can get down to that Gear Websites logo. So there was the 50 BMG project, that was like the 4th project. There's the Gear Websites logo, the 5th one. That's the one without the words on it. That one too is the one with the words on it. And if I tell it to start printing that, it's gonna bring the bed and the heating element from their kind of at rest temperatures, which is 3/4, 80% of the way, 81% of the way in Texas, to max temperature. It's going to bring them up to max temperature and start printing that part out. And that'll start happening here as we're talking. It's only got a couple of 10 degrees to get itself up to temperature here. It won't make a lot of noise. The motors don't make much noise. The noise that you hear now is all the noise you'll hear when it's actually running. And then it'll just start printing these things out. Or it'll print one of these things out, I should say. And then when it's done, I can take this deal and scrape it off of the bed and start a second one printing. And I could probably automate it more than that, I'm sure. But just as so it started to do its magic over here now. So the first thing it's going to do is run a stripe, and I think this is done mostly in case you change colors to help run out and kind of get everything going. If you notice here that something's screwed up, it's wonky, you can turn it off and save a bunch of plastic. So now it's going to determine how much pattern it's going to need on the bed and lay out a perimeter. And this is going to do two things, I think. It's going to run out more of that color. If I had changed from blue to green or from white to black, it's running out whatever goopy color might be left in the nozzle there. But then it's also showing how much distance it's going to need, so it's making sure it's got clearance, and it's also making sure that you can get some feedback here. If you saw that ring picked up on this end or on this end, you'd know that the bed was wonky, something happened, or maybe something's not heating correctly. So I think that's to give you an idea of, like, is there adhesion everywhere we need? Is it the right depth everywhere we need? You know, is the thing squirting half an inch above the table, in which case it's going to just lay out like a piece of spaghetti, or is it grinding into the table? So anyway, now it's doing its thing. That's as much noise as it's going to make. And it'll just quietly kick out one of our gears. Now the problem is it's going to print it out in black, and I don't think they look that good in black. You can barely tell what they look like. I'm going to be working on that, going forward. But at this point, I only have black material left, and as this example I had to use black. So it'll print out another black one. So, but that's an example of how I was making a bunch of these. It's just I would come over here, and when I saw that it was done, I would start another one, and then it doesn't care. The machine just sits there when it's done, and it powers everything down and shuts the heats all off. So it basically just sits there in a ready mode with all the cold, like with no heat going. And then you have to kind of warm it back up to get it going. So if you notice that it ends, you can jump over here and start it up, and it'll start to lose heat, but it'll only have to heat up about halfway each time. And knock on wood, it's pretty much a blender or a microwave. You set it and forget it, you walk away from it. So that's a little indication of how many parts you can get made over time. I have no idea time-wise. What's that? I didn't edit anything. Oh, that was my filament breaking. So my filament just broke. I think I can probably just find the end of it here. And then just jam that right back up the deal. Alright, it definitely needs to be cut on an angle. And then jam it back up into the deal. Oh, it's breaking big time. I got a brittle section of the cable or something. At least we got all this live on video. Angle that again. Jam it up in here. So the cable busted going in. Not sure why, it got brittle or something. Now I'm going to attempt to get it all reeled back up on here. And it being loose like this is not a problem. It likes to be loose better than being tight. Normally you'd think stuff like that would tangle, but typically this doesn't tangle, it just likes to be loose in there. I can't tell if it's, yeah. The problem is it'll pull the material away and push. So I have no idea what it's doing in here. It'll either pick up or it won't. It seems like it's still printing, so. Now we got to see an error as we're printing here, or as we're filming. Alright, well, back to it. So now we know kind of the troubleshooting of these things. It's not super difficult. Like, I heard a weird noise, looked at it, and saw that the little wire thing had no longer been attached to it, so I was able to determine that it had broke. And without even stopping the print or anything, I just jammed the cable back in there, and we'll see. It'll either work or it won't. This doesn't seem like a very complicated print, and it had been past the point where it is worrying about, maybe not, actually it has got some more technical stuff to do, so we'll see if it continues to print or not. That maybe will be in the next episode, I don't know. Problem is, I started a print, so I can't go back and look on that card what the next print was, so now it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to figure out what's next. I do know what one of the things is next, is that was playing with scale. So while I still had some white stuff left as it was running out, I did go ahead and make the same project, just made it bigger and then sliced it again. And this took a lot longer to print, but I also reduced the resolution. So it's the same nozzle, but the depth, I think, of layers is reduced or enlarged. So that gives you a bigger print, but less resolution at the same time. So yeah, I think it came out pretty good. You can read everything a lot easier. It looks cool. Problem is, it uses a lot more material, and I was down to very little. They start with a smaller, you know, shorter length of material in the set that they give you for free. So I was running out of material, and I made the one in white and then made one in black just to see, and still playing with it. You can definitely see some of the elements and stuff though better in the larger ones, so it's kind of cool. Alright, so we'll keep playing with the concept of coins. We'll keep playing with the concept of turning logos into 3 dimensions, and eventually turning some of these into metal, doing other fun things with them. So with that, we'll wrap this one up. That thing is about 19% printed at this point, so even with the issue, this video's, I don't know, what did I start that? Maybe 5 minutes ago? So, that's a 40-minute print, something. It'll be a little while before that thing's done printing. And I'm not going to really monitor it, I don't think, during this series. Maybe we will. And maybe if it comes up with the next print. But till next time, I want to thank you for watching and encourage you to leave some comments. The goal here is to learn about 3D printing, learn about the printers, and now we're starting to learn about creating files and using all the different softwares that entails. So looking forward to some comments and some ideas for direction. I think I mentioned it in one of the other videos. I'll record all these within an hour, and then they'll be distributed out once a week for a while. So this is going to be months later when someone's watching this, and by the time 3 videos come along, it'll be another month down the road. So definitely looking forward to some comments. Those will help us with direction on which way to go in future videos and different series. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more of this series on our first attempts at printing with the Ender 5.
Our onboard golden gear system tells us you somehow activated purge mode. This feature is designed to eradicate small pests, such as insects, spiders, and mice. But in certain situations, larger prey, such as pets and some humans, could be targeted. We're sorry for any inconvenience. If your vacuum bot has decided to purge your house of all living things, press 3. To end purge mode, you will need to access the options menu. To do that, you will need to distract VacuumBot in order to get close. We suggest throwing something at it, like a blanket or pet.
What in the world is going on here?
Kidding me? Automated system has detected high levels of profanity. Your bad attitude has been filed in our customer database. Now then, have you calmed your sassy boots down? If so, press 1. That's better. So, are you willing to throw your pet at the VacuumBot? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. What do you mean, no? It could come down to you or it, and believe this, any pet would sacrifice you in an instant. Look into their cold animal eyes and tell me they wouldn't. Come on, press yes. Fine. Throw whatever you've got over the VacuumBot, and while it struggles to be free, zip it close and turn it off. Uh-oh, when you attack your VacuumBot, you activated Guard Security Mode, and it will now identify you as a trespasser. Your VacuumBot will classify any area it's cleaned as its personal territory. Has this VacuumBot cleaned your entire home? Well, it's VacuumBot's house now. We suggest you run. Have you left yet? When you have reached minimum safe distance from Vacuum's territory, press 1.
Motherfucker!
Step aside, ladies.
Congratulations! You stopped the unstoppable killing machine that is VacuumBot. Unfortunately, you can't stay here, though. The VacuumBot has forwarded all recorded information about you to every VacuumBot model in operation, all of whom will now hunt you ceaselessly until your DNA has been cleansed from the surface of the planet. This is your life now, to hide and wander. Never a moment's rest in this barren wasteland that is now your existence. Unless, of course, you'd like to purchase a place on the exclusive VacuumBot Termination White. Go to hell. For a special introductory rate, press 1.
harvesters running doubles.
You think he's hard on you because we're not from here?
I doubt he gives a shit where we're from. The proles on my shift do. Don't like having an extra for a manager.
Fletcher, have you made friends with any local kids?
Yeah, been hanging out with a few of them. Talk kind of strange, but other than that, they seem cool. They're all modded like me.
What about Sedgwick? Has he made any friends?
I don't really know more.
Right. Of course he hasn't.
Fletcher, can you keep an eye on him for me?
You know how he
He
is.
needs to learn to
You're
adapt.
too hard on him. Poor kid's the only unmodded 16-year-old for 100 light years.
Bullshit. It's about character. Lack of it. No amount of modding would fix that.
Not his fault. Dumped onto a frostbit fucking colony world.
Not his fault.
I know he can be difficult, but maybe it's
Cedric's always had it too easy. How is he gonna learn to adapt if he doesn't even try?
I'm coming with you.
Not a good idea, Stench.
What? You think I'm afraid?
No, I just...
Look, I know everything's so fucking easy for you. But don't worry about me. I can take care of myself.
Look, I know it bothers you for some reason.
Some reason? You know what it feels like? Always having my little brother be better than me?
Not my
And
fault.
then we moved to this fucking ice ball, and every kid's modded like you. Different. That's what the grown-ups say, but they mean better.
Fine. If you're coming, hurry up and get dressed. Hey, Stench, check it out.
Quit screwing around. It'll scan you.
Whatever.
Your father. Look. Look at that.
Extraordinaire. Good to survive. Bet you wish you were back on Earth.
For this.
Fucking fuck. The fuck?
Oh, Fletch!
Hey, Logan.
What's that?
Sedgwick. My brother.
So. Extra. Not my best. Why'd you bring it?
He wanted to see the frost whales.
Okay. So, you run fast, extra.
Fast enough. Venga. These whales, how big are they anyway?
Grande cappuccio, extra.
What's that mean?
It means fucking big extra. Big enough to eat you up one bite.
You scared? Fuck off, bro.
Okay, stop. Whales don't like the machines. Sound too much. Once they are off the ice, they're like in glass. Frost whales. up. Fucking danger. Okay? Whales break ice for breathing. They won't stop till they breach. They always hit 7 times. Then minuso 7.
Minimum 7.
When frost whales hit, we run from here to there. Got it, Fletch?
Venga.
How about you, Extra?
Yeah, right. Venga.
When the frost whales hit, we go.
Sedge, we have to go. Sedge, snap out of it.
Get ready!
We have to go. We have to go now, Sedge. Sedge, let's go. Sedge! Come on, man!
On your own, Fletch!
Fuck my leg!
Fletcher! I got you. Come on.
Fucking Extra! Sometimes, fix it.
Fuck off.
Amazing run, Sedge. Oh. Venga, venga.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Holy shit. That was crazy. The size of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Big, right?
Huge. Hey,
Hey, Sedge, you coming?
yeah. Yeah, coming.
You see the way it sucked in that breath? Crazy. Never would have seen shit like that back on Earth. That was amazing.
Yeah, I know. Amazing.
you.